pi equals 3.14159 to 653 589793238 4626 433 832795.
Ed Cook is an expert at remembering things.
197 169 399.
I've come to a very kind of memo-centric view of the mind, where I basically feel, and I think I have very good reasons for feeling, that memory underlies most of what we are and do.
5 8.
In this programme, Ed reveals some of the secrets that can help you and your students develop a better memory. At Bishop David Brown School in Woking, Ed's work with the staff and students has produced some amazing results.
Last year, for example, Ed did some work with our English department, and our English Lit results, which is where all the work was based, actually improved by 27% over the 1 year, which is, I think, absolutely incredible.
Today, Ed returns to the school to see the English department in action.
Girls, 3.
B.
B, as in a bumblebee.
Ed has also accepted a challenge from the science department. He'll teach one group of Year 10s a lesson on the electromagnetic spectrum using his memory techniques.
Next thing is ultraviolet. What do you associate with ultraviolet light?
Ultraviolet plasticast.
Ultraviolet plasticast, that's awesome.
While Head of Science, Zig Danilovic, will teach another group of Year 10s the same topic in a more conventional way.
What do we mean by frequency?
The number of times something occurs.
Will Ed's reputation remain intact? A group of teachers from a neighbouring school join Ed to see how they can apply his techniques in their own classrooms.
Okay, hi guys.
First, a little theory.
Let's talk about memory techniques. And what's interesting about the techniques I use is that they're quite easy to learn.
Now I can remember, I guess, 1,500 numbers in an hour. I can remember a pack of cards, shuffle a pack of cards in 45 seconds. Things like that.
Cool, so I'm going to give you guys a bit of a memory challenge. So I'm going to try and say a list of about 30 objects. I want you to try to remember as many as you can. Ladder, snowman, tambourine.
People don't remember stuff because it's boring to them. And by boring, I mean that in the sort of semi-technical sense of that it doesn't evoke in their minds a strong reaction.
Nipple, fortune, lawn, car park. Okay, good luck. So try now, write down as many as you can.
We have to bear in mind that, you know, we encounter literally millions of stimuli every day. There's a colossal amount that we could be learning. And, you know, the brain is very well, designed or tuned to not absorb irrelevant information.
Who got the word fortune? So that's one of you got the word fortune. Who got the word future? Nobody. Who got the word nipple? Yeah, so we remember cool things and funny things and impressive things and anything which grabs your attention and which causes a landmark in your mind.
So the question of how to make stuff interesting, in one sense, is really simple. Use your imagination. Get personally involved, have emotions, experience vivid imagery.
So here's something which I remember finding this so aggressively boring when I was doing my GCSEs that I could never remember the terminology myself. It's a glacier. We can use our imagination to link this stuff together. So what does terminus sound like? Terminator? Or terminal, very good. Yeah, and how about moraine? What does moraine sound like? Moron, very good.
Technically what you do is you relate stuff to things you already know. Second thing is like imagining it in rich scenarios.
So if we can imagine a moron, your favourite moron can be standing on top of the rocks, and then outwash playing, you thought of car wash, so imagine there's a big car wash going on. What's cool about this type of technique is that kids obviously have fabulous imaginations, they can produce these images in no time at all, and it happens very, very fast.
Enough theory for the minute. Time to teach. Ed will attempt to teach his group of Year 10s a lesson on the electromagnetic spectrum. And over in the science lab, Head of Science, Zig Danilovic, will take another group of Year 10s. They've both got 45 minutes, so no time to waste.
Who wants to do a memory challenge? Hey, great enthusiasm. Car, lemon.
How would we show the wavelength on that? Where would we start and where would we end?
A quick test. Who remembered the word slope? Put your hands up. So that's 4 of you. Who remember the word nipple? Okay, that's 20 of you. Okay, good. Things which are outrageous, which grab our attention, which are associated with a rich image, you just always remember them, kind of thing. And that is the art of memory. So now we're going to have a go at remembering the electromagnetic spectrum in order. The way we're going to do it is we're going to take gamma ray to begin with, and we're going to think, what does gamma remind us of? What? Yeah. Gammon. We're going with gammon. So gammon's like a pig. So gammon is going to be our pig, and our pig's going to go on an adventure. Why would a pig have to have an X-ray, guys? He broke his leg. Why did he break his leg? Make it funny. Someone tried to kill him and broke his leg. So he goes to have an X-ray, and he gets his X-ray done or whatever, and it's fine. Maybe they put it in plaster. Next thing is ultraviolet. What do you associate with ultraviolet light?
Ultraviolet plaster cast.
Ultraviolet plaster cast. That's awesome. Okay, it goes to an X-ray, and they put an ultraviolet plaster cast on. And the next thing is the visible.
Stories are extremely compelling ways of learning lists for the simple reason that a story, once it has been understood, has a kind of global, narrative, as you say.
So then infrared happens.
Which means that the gaps in that story reveal themselves.
And Laser Quest has...
Oh, right, yeah, and it's very unfortunate, because he's just gone to Laser Quest. He's super visible, and all the people with the infrared sight just blast his leg off or whatever.
What a story gives is a global structure over a collection of items, which means that each one calls on the next. It's very simple, really.
And after that, they cook him in a microwave, and it's announced on the radio, and there's a street party. There's loads of information about the electromagnetic spectrum, and, if you see it on a book, it can be quite depressing. What I've done is I've put it into a natty little mind map. First thing to know about it is up here that it goes at the speed of light. Can anyone name the guy there?
Usain Bolt.
Well done.
The brain's very bad at attaching information to things which aren't already well familiarised within the mind.
So in electronics, there are two kinds of wave. You've got the analog one, and you see up there that picture of a girl sitting on a log. That's my second child, Anna, sitting on a log. So it's Anna log.
You pretend that process, which you can imagine, fit information to it, and that extra imagery, that imagery which has no meaning, which seems ridiculous, which seems like kind of baby talk from an educational perspective, actually acts as an indispensable scaffolding for the other extra information.
If you imagine, analog is when it's like a smooth curve. So to remember that, what you want to do is imagine her like sitting on the log and the log rolling smoothly down a hill or whatever. Try and put this into practice. Try and use your imagination when you're learning stuff. It is, I think, pretty helpful, and I think it makes stuff a lot more fun. Okay, so guys, I'm going to have a go at remembering this number. 7984986928.
Numbers are an example of something which is very difficult to learn because they're boring, because they're undifferentiated, because they don't have an obvious standout personality, they're just code.
3096.
Yeah.
In order to learn numbers, therefore, you have to add detail, you have to elaborate, you have to make things richer and more vivid.
What does 6 rhyme with? Twix. Yeah, let's have a Twix for 6. What does 5 rhyme with? Hive. Let's have a beehive for 5.
Then you have this vocabulary of images which allow you to remember numbers as easily as you remember scenes in films.
The first number was?
7.
Very good. And then we had?
9.
Very good. And then we had?
8.
And then we had? 4. And then there was a? 5. With a? 1. And then there was a? 6. It wasn't a fat lady, it was a Twix.
You draw it what you think is a normal wave.
Isn't it something like this? It's like a weekend to do this if you fancy becoming a demon number memorizer, which I do recommend.
I think if you use these strategies alongside techniques which will enable students to understand the material, I think they're really going to be onto a real winner.
Before the students are tested on the electromagnetic spectrum, Zig and Ed joined English teacher Chris Edwards in his Year 11 revision session. Chris is using mnemonics and story association memory techniques to help pupils find quotes quickly in their exam text and inspector calls.
Now, if I asked you to find me a quote from the books in front of you about Sheila growing up in the play, how quickly could you do it? Have a go now. When it comes to doing GCSE revision sessions, we talk to the kids and ask them what they're most worried about. And 9 out of 10 of the students said that they're worried about finding the quotes. A couple of you are still looking. Now, realistically, when you do your literature exam, you've got to dig out probably 5 or 6 quotes per essay answer if you really want to hit the top grades. What we're going to do is we're going to come up with like a code, a pictorial code of where every quote is in the story. To start with, we need an object to represent every number between 0 and 9. OK, so for example, 0 could be? Hero. OK. 1, what should we go for?
Gun.
Gun, OK.
I think of the creation of memorable images as a very collective activity. And so it's very easy to work in this kind of image formation into lessons because people can collectively decide upon the best mnemonic and develop quite elaborate narratives.
Girls at the back.
Arthur Berling, was being self-centred, so we came up with that Arthur Berling had a gun and shot the Hulk because he didn't want to share his chocolates, so he's being selfish.
OK. Next character we're going to do is Gerald. Right, what teacher in the school do you know is very wealthy,
Mr.
likes to talk about it? Mr. Matharu.
Chris also gets the pupils to associate the different characters in the play with different teachers in the school. They then move to that teacher's classroom to develop their stories.
For each character, we choose a teacher who is most like that character. Quite nicely there, posing in front of his expensive car. The student can cast their mind back to when they're in that classroom so that they'll know where to find their quotes.
3 was B, and then 8 was... 8 was gate.
6 was bricks, man. 2 bricks. Yeah, 2 bricks.
I think within the skills-based curriculum, you've got to strike that fine balance between making sure that, particularly as students enter GCSEs, that they've got all the requisite skills to be successful, but also the knowledge base of how to actually add the information to those skills so that they can be successful in their GCSEs.
We've come to the room of the very, very lovely Mrs. Parker, but she was very happy to play the role of Mrs. Burling. She's very regal and in command.
I think that's wicked. I think that's really cool. I mean, I like the fact that there's so many dimensions going on.
I like the use of the colour, how you associate that with the acts and the pages. And we might be able to use that in science.
Okay. The English literature results were 70% A star to C. We have lots of students learning English as a second language. So to get a result like that is phenomenal, really. And I'm not saying it's all down to these sort of techniques, but they've certainly helped.
Did a good answer, you guys.
Got 15 minutes by that clock.
It's test time. Our 2 groups of students will be tested on their knowledge of the electromagnetic spectrum with a selection of past GCSE exam questions. Ed's class on the left and Zig's on the right.
And that's the end of the test. Number 1, the answer is D.
Please put your hands up. If we add them all up together, Mr. D's team, 142. Ed's team, 153.
Well, I mean, I'm relieved, and I'm pleased to see that they seem to the factual elements we've covered. They seem to have nailed down.
I'm not surprised that a different approach or an additional approach to the bookwork gives better results.
Excellent. I think at the end of the day, we are great believers in this school that if we can find something that adds value in the classroom, that engages the students more, that allows them to learn more, which invariably means they will do better, we're going to do it.